Thanks for joining us on this morning on TVC News. I'm Ibrahim Shita, standing in for Yuri Folari. Over the week, we've been talking about issues affecting Nigerians and how we can navigate the path, politically, educationally, and even economic-wise, and some other issues that have happened in different parts of the country. But this time around, we'll be narrowing it down to how the governance is affecting the youth, especially the party at the ends of affairs. Navigating the murky waters of the challenges we're facing in the country, and how we will definitely move from the challenges to the El Dorado, or the better the better experience that we are actually clamoring for in Nigeria. In this wise, we'll be talking about the mobilization of youths for the renewed hope agenda, and I'll be speaking with the APC National Youth Leader, Dayo, who is joining me in the studio. It's good to see you this morning.
Thank you very much, my brother. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so good. Even though the weather has been so cold yesterday, but this morning just a bit.
See the good side of it is weather for two.
Weather for two. But everyone has to be at work.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. So let's begin by looking at because it's been more than a year. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had taken over the reign of affairs, and then. Nigerians can clearly recall most of the promises made by the APC, during the electioneering period, especially relating it to the renewed hope agenda. So how would you describe the situation, post-election?
First, I want to say thank you to TVC for having me on the show. And I want to say that the last 1 year of the Tinubu administration have been an interesting year. First, is a year of redirecting Nigeria on the path of progress. Now, it's not to say that this redirection does not come with its own challenges or pain. Of course, like childbirth has its own level of pain. Yes, you're going to give birth to a baby, a bouncing baby boy is a teen of joy, but the mother has got to go through the labor pain. And that pain at that moment can be very strong and very, like, I've heard of women who are at the point of birth who are cursing their husband that you put me in this scenario, and the man is just like, it's for good. But the funny part of childbirth is that the moment the baby comes to life and the mother carries the baby in their hand, and people begin to see the fruit and the benefit of all of the investment and all of the challenges, what comes out of it is joy, happiness at seeing a new thing. One thing that because I campaigned vigorously for the president. Right. I went to 33 states personally, apart from the ones that we went on the campaign. I met people, boots on ground. I interacted with a lot of young people. I convinced a lot of young people to vote for president. And so I have a lot of relationship across all of those states, and they call me every now and then, to talk about things, to request for support. So while we understand very strongly that there are challenges, I think the greatest joy that we have as a woman in labor is understanding that there's a baby that is coming. The president is committed to helping to build a new Nigeria. He wants to see a country that is prosperous economically. He wants to see a country that is competitive globally. He wants to see a country where young people have equal opportunities. And that's why a lot of policies that is rolled out, for example, you will see the student loan, consumer credit program as well, are trying to see how we can begin to have the standard of living that people in the other parts of the world and the Western world do have. Now, it's not going to be an overnight issue. It's not going to suddenly become El Dorado. But the joy that we have is that the man at the steering has passion for a new Nigeria. He's not seeking self-aggrandizement. He's just keen about building the Nigeria that we can be proud of. Now, how achieving that can have its own challenge, as I alluded earlier. But I think in the last 1 year, there have been signs that we're on the path to progress. In project management, it's what we call iteration. And so you have seen a lot of iteration here. And so when you're managing a project, you have your pilot session, you test run some things, you see how those things are adaptable to the situation, and then sometimes you take a step back and say, okay, this worked, this hasn't worked. And so one of the things that you must also realize is that there's a lot of iterative method to see how things can be better and how we can introduce things, because what the president is doing is what they call in project management change management. So you need to understand stakeholders engagement, you need to understand risk management and various elements of change management. And so change management is never easy. You know, it's not easy on stakeholders, it's not easy on beneficiaries, but then you're able to iterate. And one thing that you must, recognize is that the president has been a listening president. So there are policies that have been introduced to see how it would work in our society and improve the life of people. And when there are areas that lessons have been learned on what can be improved upon, one good thing is that we have a listening president who says, you know what, let's go back to the drawing board, let's do things better. So the last 1 year has not necessarily been best in terms of economic output, in terms of money in the hand of the Nigerian people. But what is important is that we're in a change management process, and that we recognize that we're on the path to building a Nigeria that is sustainable, that the economy would work for everybody, and that equal opportunities will be available for everybody. I was talking to my friend today as I was driving here that there was a particular car that we're talking about, and we saw that that car cost about 400 million, and I'm like, oh my God, this same car in London, I know young people who can, pay £100 a month, £500 a month, £1,000 a month to get that car over a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year period, and you're paying like a mortgage. But we don't have that kind of thing in Nigeria. You need to put cash on the table. But that's one of the reasons why the president is introducing this consumer credit system, so that, and it's a process. When you introduce it, you begin to implement it on a stage basis, and then you begin to scale widely. So the same thing for the student loan and many other initiatives of the president. So my joy, and I think that I hope that Nigerian can see that the president has a very strong passion for Nigeria, and he wants to be able to help to put structure in place. The ideas that will come at some cost, personal cost to a lot of people, but the man that we have in the villa, if he thinks that in the long run Nigerians will benefit from it, he will take those tough decisions.
Right, so we'll talk about some